should be movie, should be movie, should be fun. Movie should be fun, yeah!
Alright guys, we're here today to talk about a film called Death Warrant. This stars Jean-Claude Van Damme, and it is a film so 80s it could only really be made in 1990. Get your bingo cards ready, this film has them all. Does he have a dead partner? Check, he does. Is he therefore going in alone? You better bet he is. Does he have a bad guy with a cheesy name? The Sandman, who can't be killed, who has to shoot 5 times before he's down and then tell him he's being arrested? Yes, he has that. Does every outdoor set look more like indoors than the indoor sets? Yes, they do. So it isn't exactly the most original plot out there. We got a cop, a good cop, but a maverick cop. He has to go into prison to undercover some stuff, which turns out to be, obviously, people harvesting organs from prisoners. And his love interest's dad sort of figure is in on it because his wife needed a liver, obviously. And he, of course, sorts all that out. That's not really all that interesting. It's there. He has a love interest, of course, playing his wife on the outside. Well, she is this sort of sex pest teenage friend who's spotty and ugly and helps her do hacking and uncover stuff. He's a weird guy. I'm not quite sure where he comes from. There's lots of phones in this prison who he gets involved with this guy, sort of gang leader in prison who lives in sort of a brothel type swirly thing. There's apparently no shortage of smoke machines, lighting, or sort of silk pashminas in this prison. So he can talk to this lady on the phone whenever he wants, but she still has to come and visit even if it's extremely risky and things start to not make sense. But anyway, they have very little chemistry, but you know, that's action films for you. He does have pretty good chemistry with his sort of unlikely friends, because in these prison movies you have to make an unlikely friend. Does that unlikely friend die at the end, sacrificing himself to help our hero? Of course he does. He dies very heroically helping our hero. So does this film end with a fight scene in a large industrially pump house factory type setting? Yes, of course it does. Is there a time in which Jean-Claude Van Damme pumps his fist while saying, "I must get to the outside"? Of course there is. Does he lose his shirt in a way that isn't entirely convincing other than the entire necessity to let his shirt out? Of course he does. He spends several scenes greased up and glistening with sweat when no other characters are. The prison guards are terrible. They sort of sexually pester, assault the girlfriend character, but you know, is she perfectly happy to sleep with Jean-Claude Van Damme immediately after that sort of probably quite horrific experience? Of course she is, because these movies have no real idea. We have a chain fight in a laundry room. We have people using giant spanner tools as weapons. Of course we do. We have a guy getting an axe to the gut. That's pretty fantastic. We have Jean-Claude Van Damme with a smoking gun. That is literally smoking. We have greased, gelled hair. More perfect than mine even could ever be throughout the entire film. And maybe that's where all the sweat on his face is coming down. Maybe it's residue from the hair just gradually dripping down onto his face and then his biceps, and then his shirt has to slide off, leaving his whole body oiled, then his trousers vastly approaching his nipples, because that is where we wore trousers in those days. Rather large, baggy trousers around the leg, or rather tight and fitted around the rib cage. For the climax, of course, his old nemesis, the Sandman, who we see him shoot at least 5 times at the beginning, who does not appear to be wearing any kind of protective clothing, is of course back in the prison, brought back by the kind of insider cop father figure of the love interest to try and finish Van Damme off, because that's why they sent him to prison in the first place. Really, it was to finish him off so that he didn't find anything out. But the Sandman is back, and unfortunately they are just a little bit too early to get a really great Metallica tie-in there, because I think that film came out like 1 year before or something. But that was a missed opportunity right there for everyone involved. The Sandman's back, so that's why they have to fight. They do a big fight, the friends help out, they die, Jean-Claude Van Damme lives, he comes out, and basically it's a happy ending, unless you're one of the multiple people who is impaled or stabbed or killed. So, what are we going to say about this film after now that I've dissected and discussed it in a very logical manner for you? Well, we're going to say, was that a fun movie? Yes, it was a fun movie. Doesn't get my top score. Hell yes! But it gets a definite yes. I enjoyed it. You could play action movie bingo, cliche bingo to it. You could tick them all off. You got a line. Don't play a drinking game to this film. You will be drunk in minutes if you have a list of cliches, because it has all of them in all the most wonderful ways. This is why I make this thing, because movies should be fun. And this action movie is not too concerned and too far up its own ass with all sorts of shit. This movie is just fun. It's silly. They wrote it. They had Van Damme. They wanted to get Van Damme. They wanted him oiled. They wanted him fighting. They got him doing all those things. It's awesome. I like this film. This film is fun.
Movie should be fun. Movie should be fun. Movie should be fun. Movie should be fun. Movie should be fun. Movie should be fun. Movie should be fun. Movie should be fun. Movie should